I want to shine a light on the systemic transphobia that's like happening and becoming ever and ever more brazen. It sounds really big to say systemic, but basically what I'm going to state here is that it's happening at different levels on different fronts. And I've got a good example that's kind of in the media at the moment to kind of show you that. And it has a huge impact. Like life is getting harder and harder as trans people, people like me, and like it's just becoming heavier and really hard to just exist. And that sounds like a huge thing to be saying, but it is completely the truth. Like if you ever seen my other Facebook posts, you know where I'm going with it. But um, coming back to this, keeping it quick, there's a court case going on where a non-trans woman, a nurse, is suing the NHS 5, her employer, as well as a trans woman doctor, and this is to do with the handling around her suspension over the use over a couple of claims that was made against her, and those claims stem around the trans doctor. And if you read the media posts around this, the way that the media would portray this is that she was challenging the workplace over the use of this trans doctor using the single sex space of the changing rooms, and that she was uncomfortable. And so she, if you read the titles about it, it's kind of listed like that. She was given a suspension investigation around her challenging the use of the trans women in the changing room. You have to dig a little bit deeper because it was not that. Even though the titles make it sound like that, it makes it sound like she was up against the establishment, the woke people. It's not that. She was actually put on suspension for this investigation over two causes. One is she did raise her concerns with her line manager twice. And then on Christmas Eve, she took matters into her own hands. And this is what was alleged against her, was that she had gone into the changing rooms and harassed the doctor. And she harassed her by not only just calling her he, him pronouns, but then likened her to a man who had sexually raped or sexually assaulted other women. Like, that is effing outrageous. Like, outrageous as it is, if someone done that in a workplace environment. So, like, one, it's not on her to go and come up with enforcements for herself. So, and then it's the harassment of the pronouns, and then harassment of that comparison. Like, outrageous. The second thing is that she left a patient that she was supposed to be in the room with the doctor. So her and the doctor, same doctor, were with a patient, and she refused to be in that room. Now, both of those claims were dismissed because it was like a she said incidents. So, like, it was very hard to determine. And I kind of get it, because if this was a legal court case, it wouldn't stand. You need more evidence than that. So it gets dismissed, I understand, but had there been more evidence, then I would fully expect at least a disciplinary for that action. And this also happened before the ruling from the Supreme Court on single-sex spaces and the exclusion of trans women under that. And that's like another kind of systemic transphobia thing that's happening there, and I can talk about it in another video. But coming back to this case, you already have the media portraying this person done this innocent thing of challenging for women's rights. I do quotations because it's only some women that she's actually apparently fighting for, but the point being, that's not what it was. It was these two other instances, right? What also came up from this investigation, which is absolutely horrific, is that there's a private Facebook group for staff. There's a private Facebook group for staff at this hospital, and inside this group, there was transphobic memes put inside, right, making fun of trans women. Commentary, not just memes, but I think commentary making fun of trans women, and it was posted anonymously in this group. And to me, and it was described or passed after review as banter, right? And for me, banter is when the person giving off the joke and the person receiving the joke both laugh or both find it funny. That's banter. It goes between two people. But when the other person, the receiving end, is not laughing and you keep doing it, that's bloody bullying. Like, that is bullying, that is harassment. Now, these posts were anonymous. They can't link it to her. I'm not saying it's her, but just the fact that there's a work group, and it is a work group, despite if it's even made outside of work, the fact that it is for work colleagues, it's still a work group, that there's these people posting this and supporting this, and being trans is supposed to be a protected characteristic. So not looking good. It makes me uncomfortable as well, knowing now whenever I go to the hospital or whatever, I'm going to be second guessing, is this I've seen those memes. I've showed you before in other videos. I've seen those things and they're horrid. They're absolutely horrid, and it's not funny, and they're vile. So let's just put that to the side. So we've got, say, systemic rights. We've covered the media. We've covered this Facebook group thing that's happening inside the workplace. Then we get to the court case that's currently happening where she's suing the employer and the doctor. And the judge has allowed her legal counsel and the nurse to refer to the trans doctor as he, him, which is, again, another outrageous thing to happen, because even if gender critical views, and I use quotations around this because I really can make another video of likening that to the same level of white supremacy, or like the thinking behind that and how that's like scientific, is the same way with gender critical views. But even if you have those views that are protected, you're not allowed to enforce those directly on to others. So you can go home, you can say, Nayla, I was talking to Nayla and he, him, blah, 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 with your friends and family at home, but you can't come to the workplace and do that to me, or you can't do it publicly in a public space to me either, because that's like discrimination and harassment to someone like me. But oh no, the judge doesn't think so, and what's the point of having this as a characteristic that can't be discriminated against if you can just ignore who I am? Like, he, him has nothing to do with sexual matters either. It's their gender criterias, their gender pronouns. So like, even if you want to disagree about the biology thing about it, gender is not biology. It's like, we all know it's social construct. So what's the issue with continue to call that person she, her? And this then has another impact on the jury, because it gives validation to this, and it adds weight to the counter argument that there was like this man, he, him, that was at fault here, and the NHS is protecting this man over this woman, and that's completely wrong. It's a trans woman who is trans in category, and it is a cis woman, a non-trans woman, that's putting the complaint against. It's woman against woman in this argument, and that's how it should be kept. Yeah, okay, so I don't know about the camera, why it's blurry. Okay, we're back. These then waver out into public opinion, and it's not good media coverage for trans people, and so it makes people more frustrated at trans people, and maybe have more biased views that we're like enforcing things onto other people, or bullying other women, or exactly that kind of trope that trans women are taken away from other women. It plays into that. And that's how this whole, like in this one instance, I've just covered things like the media, the workplace, even the court system, and then public opinion that comes out of it. That's systemic. Yeah, I just wanted to show in this one clear case of like all the different levels in it, of like what people like me face, and why like life is heavier, because you're just trying to get on. And for some people, I'm not going to say for all trans people, because people aren't for necessarily assimilation, but when I say assimilation, I just mean like we as trans people have the same equal rights as the groups we associate with. So not associate with, but rightfully are part of. So I am a woman, I am on that spectrum, I am biologically changing, and the law should be there to protect me under this, because it's already hard enough, and without that it's just a punching bag. So this is why I'm making this video. It's just, hopefully I've not spent too long on this, and I've rattled through and I've made some good points, and you understand, or you can see from at least my perspective of like why life just feels harder to kind of breathe around, particularly in this country. Yeah, thank you so much for listening. Sorry if it was a bit of a ramble. I did this off the top of my head again. Thank you. Bye.